Hey everyone, welcome into the Guilty as Charged podcast. I know it's been a rough couple of weeks, especially watching the offense as the team goes 0-2. I wanted to dive into some of the reasons that they're going 0-2 and the reasons that their offense just isn't working right now. And a lot of people have had different ideas or theories or whatever. They think it's Joe Lombardi. They think, Josh Palmer needs more snaps. Maybe we should dial back Jalen Guyton snaps. Herbert looks off, offensive line. And really, it is all of these things. So we're going to go into that. We're going to break everything down. But we're actually going to start with Jalen Guyton. Then we're going to get into the offensive line issues and protection issues, and a little bit of Justin Herbert sprinkled throughout. Then a pretty decent segment on Keenan Allen, where he's been, what he's doing, how they kind of reacted to what they were doing against what the Baltimore Ravens are doing against him. And then just close out with a couple of final thoughts. So this is going to be a part one. I'm just talking about more of the film here. And then I want to team up with Arjun. I am going to team up with Arjun to talk about a part two, specifically talking about Joe Lombardi. And I think to make this an entire all offense video, it would take way too long. I already have 6.5 minutes of the all 22 as it is right here. And I don't want to waste your time for an entire video. So just bear with me through this topics that I already mentioned. And then in a separate video sometime this weekend, Arjun and I will be talking about Joe Lombardi, the differences between him and Shane Steichen, what he's asking Herbert to do that he didn't or did do last year, things like that. So I guess sort of in honor of Arjun, we're going to start with where they currently are right now. And the Chargers are not really, okay, so this is where they were. They were in a more, I'm a better offensive passing kind of team here, being the bottom right quadrant here and drop back EPA per play. But unfortunately, as we all know, watching the Anthony Lynn offense, they weren't good running the football. So that's why they're down here. You'd love to be up here. Unfortunately, they're down here because they were a decent passing football team, not a good running football team. Really one of the worst because of, offensive line, because of the backs, Eckler's injury, the scheme, all those things. So now we move forward to 2021. These are just the last 2 weeks. Now, technically, this is the last 3 weeks, but the Chargers had a bye, and I didn't know how to do just week 6 and just week 8. So maybe these numbers could be different if I could just pick those 2 weeks, but you get the idea. Between week 6 and 8, so them playing the Ravens and playing the New England Patriots, obviously, their rush EPA per play has actually increased. Now, part of that does come from the fact that Justin Jackson had a 75-yard run and the 28-yard run by Austin Eckler. Joe Lombardi really committed to running outside more, particularly at least on first down against the New England Patriots, and I do think that helped them quite a bit because running outside for them was more efficient, at least on first down and what I've been charting compared to their inside runs. Now, granted, there are more ways to run inside, if you will, A gap, B gap versus outside, just kind of being off tackle or maybe some gadget plays. So their running offense has been better, but their passing game took a really, really big hit. As you see right here, they're over here clustered with the Lions, the Giants, the Bears, about the same dropback EPA per play as David Mills and the Texans. Thankfully, Sam Darnold has been worse, but this is not a good area to be in now. They have played two very difficult teams. And so, of course, facing the Ravens and the Patriots, two very, really, really good defenses, two of the best, most well-coached teams of the last decade plus, if you're the Patriots, they're good. So we expect the team, at least the Chargers, to not be as good, but there are reasons beyond just the defense played well. The Chargers have issues all over the place, and we're gonna get into them right now. So I know a lot of people were asking about Jalen Guyton. Where is he? Let's trade for Deshaun Jackson. Let's get a new guy. But after watching all the plays with Guyton, at least over the last 2 games, I charted about 10 different opportunities for him to get a football, and he didn't. He has, I think, 7 targets the last 2 games, only 2 receptions, but many of them were either miss. Actually, we'll see a couple here. A couple of them are throwaways that doesn't really count, but he was kind of the target on those throwaways, if you will. So we're gonna get into it. So Jalen Guyton, what has he been doing? Well, what do we know Jalen Guyton to be? A fast guy, the go route guy, the clear out guy, the guy who's going to allow the rest of your offense to excel. So at the bottom of your screen here in the yellow, that'll be Jalen Guyton just running an easy go. And Jared Cook in the slot here will be running an out. Now, what I want to point out, and what you'll see many times through here, Herbert opts to take the underneath shorter throw over the kill shot, if you will, many times. And I don't necessarily disagree with every time that he did that, but there are opportunities kind of like this one where you could have gone a little bit more aggressive and gone for Jalen Guyton down the sideline. But this one, not as much, but some you'll see later, absolutely. So this is classic Jalen Guyton doing his job, freeing up Jared Cook. He's going to go up, right? You could hit him here. It's possible, but really this underneath throw to Jared Cook, getting the first down. How could you disagree with that decision? Now, some of the issues just come with Herbert not being able to find Jalen Guyton accurately. But now it's not just a Herbert thing. It could be a Guyton thing, but it's really also a protection thing. We'll see that in just a bit. So we're going to have Guyton just motion over here, pre-snap, and run a little swing route. He's kind of going to sit rather than wait for that pass. Right? I would expect him to go a little bit more upfield, kind of waiting for this to gain some forward momentum. He stops, and maybe that's the reason this pass is thrown off. But obviously, there's also pressure in the red box here in Herbert's face. We don't like that. We hate seeing that. But of course, there was pressure, and we are going to talk about pressure in just a little bit. Unfortunately, that throws things off. So Guyton's open. They try to involve him, but unfortunately, the throw is just off. Maybe that's on Guyton. Maybe that's on Herbert. Certainly, some of it is on the offensive line. Things just aren't clicking. So people are wondering, where is he? What is he doing? Well, the opportunities are there. They're just not clicking right now. So this one is a little bit frustrating, but you'll see him later against the Patriots nail this. So for him to, I guess, learn from his mistake and make this throw in a later game, the next game, is really, really good, really, really positive. Unfortunately, as you watched the Ravens game and you know this, tons of pressure. And I do think Herbert had an opportunity to hit this, and it'll zoom out and you'll be able to see the route develop from Guyton up top here. But there is a lot of pressure in his face too. So while I do think he could have thrown this and made it, the pressure was in his face, undeniably. And they just didn't really do a good job picking it up that game. So, right, he does have an opportunity here, I think, to hit Guyton, and he will do this correctly against the Patriots. But unfortunately, you have pressure in your face right here. I think at this point, it is on Herbert to get rid of this quickly. So, it's very tough. It's very bang, bang. It's so quick. I don't want to say it's Herbert's fault because there's pressure right there, but he should have sort of accounted for that and thrown it. But then again, do you trust your arm? I don't know. This Ravens game and this Patriots game, very, very tough. I usually think that last year, Herbert would have made this throw. These last two games, he's just not quite hitting. And we'll see that a lot throughout this breakdown. So unfortunately, it doesn't happen, doesn't work out. Herbert gets buried, sack, ends the drive. So here's one of the more frustrating ones too. This is Guyton again at the top of the screen. Simple go. He's going to beat his guy, and Herbert is looking for him. He makes the right decision. He's lined up, ready to go, ready to throw it. And this is Justin Herbert, so we know he can make this throw. It's not a difficult throw for Justin Herbert. He's ready, and all you have to do is hit anywhere up by that green. Don't let Jalen Guyton be a jump ball guy. He's not Mike Williams. Hell, even Keenan Allen's a pretty good jump ball guy. He's going to have enough separation, as you'll see in a bit, where just throw it ahead of him. Go for the kill shot. Instead, it becomes a jump ball. It's thrown short, and it's an incompletion. Now, at this point, the Chargers were not winning, but the opportunity was there. Herbert just underthrows him. And at that point, Jalen Guyton, I like him, but that's not his game. This is not his game. Now, another issue, not another issue, the same issues we've been seeing. Guyton, again, is open deep. I think the other Patriots rep that I showed you, a little tighter, and also he had the underneath throw. Same thing here. He's going to have the underneath option to Eckler. It's fine, and it does get the first down, but the kill shot is there. Guyton has quite a few steps on, I believe, J.C. Jackson here, and he could have scored. And in a game where it was much tighter than that Ravens game, could have made the difference. But again, he does get the first down by throwing it to Eckler. It's just not that kill shot that you're looking for. And people are asking, where are the deep passes? Why isn't Lombardi dialing up these deep passes? Well, they're there. He's not hitting them right now because, unfortunately, there's pressure. So Herbert is going to fake the handoff, roll out a little bit. Not really roll out a little bit. The pressure is going to be in his face immediately. So unfortunately, he has to roll out. But at this point, you have Guyton done here with 3 yards of separation. This DB has his back turned to him, and I believe he's on Keenan Allen here, right? But instead, because of this pressure, and because again, there's nothing wrong with the decision. It just, you can get a little bit more, right? To me, and this is kind of an odd comparison, but the underneath throw here is Tyrod Taylor. The throw deep is Justin Herbert. And you want to see more Justin Herbert, right? Or, maybe more Justin Herbert, a little less underneath throw to like Tua, for example. Sorry, Tua, I like you. But you're a little bit conservative these days, I guess. So unfortunately, because of the pressure here, which is the story of many of these deep throws not working, he's not able to take that deep shot. He goes underneath instead. Eckler does pick up the first down. So just like the Cook play, he does pick up the first down. There was just something a little bit more there. Let's run through that one more time. Guyton on the go, roll out a little bit, pressure in your face. Good decision to go to Eckler. I don't hate it, but the deep shot is there. The DB's turn to face the other receiver. He goes underneath. Eckler has a ton of space, so I get it. But the deep shot, kill shot was there. Okay, so now let's talk about the protection issues, as if you haven't already seen that there were protection issues the last 2 weeks. And did I show any off of the left side from Rashawn Slater? No. Now, there were a couple, don't get me wrong, but this right side of the line, particularly with Storm Norton, is awful. And at this point, when I'm talking to you, the trade deadline has passed. They have not made any moves to address the right tackle situation. And it's unfortunate because, people are wondering, or saying that, hey, you couldn't find a good right tackle out there. There's no starting caliber right tackles out there. Maybe. I think you could find someone better than Storm Norton, who is currently on pace to give up 71 pressures this year. Now, granted, that is because they play a 17-game schedule, but still, 71 pressures. Rashawn Slater, I think he's on pace to give up like 25, maybe 30 at max. And that's in his rookie year, no less, with, I think, in my opinion, facing tougher competition. So this right tackle situation is tough because, yeah, you could have found somebody else, an average right tackle, maybe traded for him, whatever. But you didn't also have to sign a right tackle or trade for a right tackle. You could have signed or traded a left guard, move Filer out to right tackle and fix that. So you had different options. Hell, you could have just had your own guy, Brendan Hymus, Senio Clemente, maybe put him at left guard and put Filer at right tackle, but they didn't do that. And so in this game, I believe Norton gave up 8 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus. I believe Steven had Norton at 6 pressures and actually gave a couple pressures to Schofield. I think it was 6 and 5 when Steven charted it. Either way, the right side of the line was not good. This is the final drive of the game, and you'll see just how many pressures Norton and Schofield allow just on the final drive. And the play before this, Slater actually did allow a pressure because he couldn't pick up the stunt in time. So this one, not a lot to break down necessarily, just showing you that part of the reason the offense isn't working is because this right tackle situation stinks. And so he has to throw it away, live to fight another day. Same thing here, this time in between Norton and Schofield. Schofield's played pretty well. I'm not going to hold one iffy game against him, though Steven didn't like him in this game as much as Pro Football Focus did. But they had Herbert getting buried there. Now, here's that not kill shot, but that corner that I wanted Herbert to hit with Guyton against the Ravens. He did hit it here with a little bit of pressure in his face too. Oh, look, more pressure in his face, but he does stand tall and he does deliver on this one. That's what I want to see from Herbert, right? So that was so there was Slater who gave up pressure, which it didn't show. Then immediately following were 2 pressures, one by Norton, one between Norton and Schofield. Then that throw, which there wasn't a whole lot of pressure, but I think there was a little bit of pressure from the right side. Then the next play, what happens? We go right back to the right tackle, giving up a pressure. Herbert has to throw it away again. It's just so frustrating. And it's not even like a good rep, good pressure. I mean, it was just consistent. You watched the game. How awful was it? And this one was the weirdest one of all. So in this one, the Chargers have done this quite a bit. I've seen them do it with Steven Anderson. They've done a slide route with plenty of their receivers following a Guyton motion. But in this particular play, and I've seen this do with Steven Anderson, I believe, against the Ravens, instead of following Allen on a motion, so Allen's going to motion before the snap, go out for a wheel route. Usually the receiver here, or usually the inline tight end, will follow out to the flat here. And you'll see Keenan Allen do that later. In this particular instance, Herbert is going to fake the handoff to be able to throw. And Parham is supposed to just block. That's it. He's just supposed to block. Herbert's going to play action. There's going to be one guy unaccounted for. Parham is supposed to block him. Allen goes here. Mike Williams guys got a deep over here, and you try to hit one of those guys. But Parham, I don't know why. I don't really know what this is. I have no explanation because he is okay. I'm gonna go here, and then he's in Slater's way, and then he's kind of in the running back's way, and then he goes, "Oh crap, I forgot I was supposed to do this." So he goes that way, and it's a complete disaster. Now, unfortunately, again, everyone's asking, where's Lombardi's deep shots? Why are they not calling deep shots? Well, there's one called up right here. And granted, not every throw is easy, but it's Justin Herbert. He can make this throw 20 yards back, but he's not given any time because Parham completely screws the play. So with this DB going this way, these two sitting here, there's a great opportunity to throw it to Mike Williams right here, who only had 19 yards that game, but there were opportunities to go to him, and Herbert didn't because sometimes he just didn't, but other times, like this one, he just couldn't. And down goes Herbert. It's really unfortunate. Another example here. Unfortunately, Michael Schofield is going to give up a pressure here. I think there's something a little bit longer developing down here. But at worst, if the pocket is good, you can hit Jared Cook on an out over here. But instead, Schofield gets up the pressure. Herbert has to move. It's an ugly looking play. The play is completely blown up. Right, so you could have gone anywhere up here to Jared Cook. Maybe I didn't pause it at the right time. Right, but there's an opportunity here if he's there and the pocket is strong to plant and throw this. Maybe it's not perfect, but I think he can do it. Maybe something down here could develop, but he's already having to roll out because the protection broke down so quickly in his own end zone. Just not good stuff at all. And this one, there's a couple things. This one is another one that I'm scratching my head on. So Herbert's going to fake the handoff and then kind of boot scoot back this way. And Roundtree is going to follow his offensive line. They all go out this way, and Roundtree is going to go like he's going to go out for a screen pass. But he doesn't turn around. So I don't know if that messes with the play or what, but Roundtree is just facing downfield. And I'm like, turn around at some point, right? Never does. So very strange. But you have two opportunities here. One to Mike Williams. Another one is a deep shot to Keenan Allen. This is basically the only deep shot, like true deep shot risk-taking play that Herbert made all game. Now there was a deep one to Keenan Allen, but it wasn't like a risky one. Keenan Allen was wide open. This one, he does go to Keenan Allen, but Mike Williams, again, is available. The deep shots are there, but Herbert is missing. So pick the handoff, scoot back. And to me, it's like, okay, I'm drawing them in this way, and I'm going to throw back across my body, throw it to Roundtree. Let's go. But Roundtree is still facing downfield at this point, and Herbert's already winding up for a deep shot. So is this a designed play to suck the defense in? I don't know. It's just strange to have 5 of your players just kind of standing over here. Granted, it does give him a clean pocket, so maybe it worked. But at this point, Herbert has 2 options. One, go to Williams right here with this DB's back, basically about to face Williams, or go to Keenan Allen here. Now, this play kind of reminds me of the game against the Chiefs when his first start, if you will, where I don't know how to describe it correctly, but in general, he thought he had a one-on-one with Keenan Allen deep, and the DB was able to peel off. The other DB was able to peel off and pick him off. It was a really bad decision by Herbert. To me, this is very similar. I don't recall if Herbert had another receiver that was open like Williams is here, but Herbert does take this aggressive deep shot, kind of hero balling it, and it almost gets intercepted. Whereas Mike Williams is right here, right? And he's going to plant, wind up, and go. Herbert is going to launch this thing, right? He's got all the time to wind up and chuck it. There's no way he can't get this to Williams with 3 offensive linemen of his standing right here. So no one's in his way. All right, Herbert can get that no problem, but he goes for the deep shot here, and I think he just misses the DB peeling off at the last second. Now, maybe that's a coach thing. I don't know. But clearly, the Chiefs got him doing that. And then the Patriots got him here as well. This one kind of same thing, but this is another issue with pressure in his face again. And whereas I do think he has an opportunity to hit this. Let's go back just a tiny bit. Sorry if I'm not describing the routes all that much. I feel like the arrows are enough to kind of describe where they're going if I don't describe it. He's got 2 options here. He's got two options here. One of them, Keenan Allen. One of them, Jared Cook, I believe. Two options, good options. Could have gone to either. I feel like you'll see Jared Cook get a little bit more open, but unfortunately the pressure is there and he just doesn't hit it. But, oh, that's the running back, by the way. Should have picked this guy up. Although I don't know how it works. Because on the one hand, the running back should work inside out, and he does. But then Norton, of course, gives up the pressure on his guy. So he's like, well, I guess I got to help him. And now you've got another DB flying down here. It's just an impossible situation, just bad protection. Running back, Norton, screws it up for him. But I think if it were a good pocket, and if Herbert didn't need to kind of make something work here, he throws it right here, right? This DB's gone with the receiver. DB's too far off. One-on-one right here. Jared Cook is actually going to make a pretty solid move and a little bit of physicality to get open here. He's got him no problem. But instead, the pressure is there, and Herbert just has to get out of the way. He's like, oh, shit. Got to get out of the way. Incompletion. So just a combination of things. All right, so this view, what's another issue with the offense? Obviously, it's the drops. And it's really strange. This particular one is a fantastic play, in my opinion, by Herbert. And I really think you couldn't ask for a whole lot more than where this ball goes. It could be better, but considering the play he had to make, right, this isn't exactly a clean look here. And it's a pretty solid throw. I think Williams does enough, or is close enough to it to get this, but unfortunately he catches it and it kind of has to turn. And then I believe it's McCourty pops it out. To me, this is a drop. He didn't get credited for a drop, but to me, this is a drop. I do think while it is a bang bang play, I do think he should have stopped it, or excuse me, he should have caught it, but he does not. So that's a problem. The next one here is Austin Eckler running that angle route. Here's the problem with this one, and we'll start with just the play. Okay, so this leads to the interception. No good. Not the first time there was something that happened that led to an interception on this day. Here's the thing. One, there's that hesitation, right? If you're going to throw it to Eckler, why not throw it to Eckler? It almost looks like, okay, maybe I should go back to Parham. And then he's kind of got this like, she didn't stop it in time. Right? If you're going, go. And then he pulls it back, and then he kind of has this, he's not, what to me, the body language suggests he's trying to throw it to Parham, but then he kind of pivots this way and he sidearms it, and it's pretty accurate, but he sidearms it and it goes too high for Eckler here. Everyone's like, oh, well, he threw it perfectly to Eckler. Look, it hit him in the hands, but it was not a perfect throw by any means. It's a perfect throw if it's done on Parham, but this is Austin Eckler. He's not exactly the tallest guy on the team. And while he is a very good receiving back, right, this ball is just a little bit too high and a little bit behind for him to have to go up and kind of arch back like that. It's a little bit high, a little bit behind. Should have caught it. It should never have been interception. I don't blame Herbert completely. I don't blame Eckler completely, but unfortunately it is an interception. And part of the reason they were struggling. Same thing here, this time to Keenan Allen. This one's no problem. He's lined up, good to go. Finds his guy, puts some heat on it, drops it right through his hands. Then it's not even like a drop. It's just like nothing but glove, nothing but net, straight through his hands. So there's Keenan Allen's drop of the day. And then that's funny. Pro Football Focus only has Eckler credited for one drop during that game. This game, excuse me. But this is the drop, which means they didn't give Eckler, or credit Eckler, if you will, for a drop on this play. Right, the play I showed for earlier about the interception. They only have him credited for one drop, or at least they did, unless something changed. And so, again, that kind of just shows you it's not just, oh, Eckler dropped it. There's a little bit of nuance there. Herbert, in my opinion, could have thrown a better ball. This one's just a flat out drop. Bad. Would it have gone anywhere? Not really. Okay. So where's Keenan Allen? We've shown a couple of times that he tries to go to Keenan Allen, doesn't work. And we've already shown that he tries to go to Mike Williams, doesn't work, or he just can't find Mike Williams, or he should have gone to Mike Williams, should have gone to Jalen Guyton, right? Those deep shots are there to Jalen Guyton and to Mike Williams, but he doesn't get there. So what happened? What has happened to Keenan Allen? Well, one of the things we got to talk about, obviously, is the unselfish nature of who Keenan Allen is. As much as we want to say he's the best wide receiver in the game or on the team, AFC West, whatever. You know, he's not just a great receiver. He's a great teammate. And there's many reasons why he's a good teammate. One of them being he's just a good run blocker. We saw it last year on Hard Knocks, how the receivers coach talked about how Keenan Allen was such a good run blocker. I'm not saying this is the greatest play ever, but you see he has to contribute in other ways. And in this game, he was asked to contribute in many different ways as a decoy, as someone who was double covered, triple covered, so many different things, motioning out of the way, clear out slants, all sorts of different things. He was asked to contribute so other guys could prosper. So people are wondering, where's Keenan Allen? Where did Keenan Allen go? Well, he was there, but that play you saw to Josh Palmer is because of Keenan Allen. The play you'll see here to Austin Eckler, it's partially because of Keenan Allen. Let's talk about it. So I actually was watching JT O'Sullivan, who does the QB school, break this down for Jalen Hurts. Same thing here. The first read is going to always be that angle route out of the backfield. The second one is the out route. Out route right now is Keenan Allen. Eckler is the angle route out of the backfield. Typically, you go angle route first. If there's an issue with the DBs or the defense screws up, you can go to Keenan Allen. But in this particular situation, most times you're going to go to the running back. And so Keenan Allen, he does draw coverage. He does run it out. He does open things up for Austin Eckler. And this goes for a really big gain. So again, where's Keenan Allen? Where's Keenan Allen? Well, he's contributing in ways that don't show up on the stat sheet as well. So this one is, I'm going to go more of on a limb on this one. To me, Keenan Allen, and you'll see this, Keenan Allen is much more wide open. And why wouldn't you go to Keenan Allen, especially with Mike Williams hurt? But instead, they're going to go to Josh Palmer on the outside, as you see here in green. But Keenan Allen, and I'm going to go on a limb here, the Chargers, especially if you watch that Kansas City game where Allen ran the angle from the outside and then Jalen Guyton had to clear out either crosser or clear out slant. The guy on the inside is typically the guy clearing out the rest of the defense. So the guy on the outside running whatever route it is can prosper. Sometimes it's two slants with Allen and Williams. And while Allen's on the inside, he frees up Williams. Or like I said, against the Chiefs, Allen is on the outside running the angle, and he's freed up by Jalen Guyton. So even though Jalen Guyton was wide open on that play, if you remember that one, Herbert didn't go to him. Why? Because that is typically not where you're supposed to go. You're supposed to go to the guy on the outside. So I'm thinking in this particular play, while Keenan Allen was wide open, I do believe his role was to clear out the defense and allow Palmer to get the reception here. And he does. And this is a play that I was talking about. You know, when everyone's like, oh, why'd you go to Josh Palmer on 4th down against Marlon Humphrey? Well, it's because of a play like that. Palmer made the play. Okay, so one play here, I don't want to show a bunch of double, triple coverage plays. I just want you to get the idea. This is actually the same play that he missed Guyton on. So Keenan Allen is here, and you always know which one's Keenan Allen because he stands a little bit more upright, and his hands are a little bit more close to him, and he's also twitching his hands a little bit. It's cool to watch his little tendencies. But Herbert, Allen is just going to be triple covered. Now, I'm not saying they went out of their way to triple cover him, but he was triple covered. There's 3 guys right here. What are you going to do? So I'm not saying that they were triple covering him all game, but Baltimore defense really did their best to take him away. Now against the Patriots, they did a much better job of finding ways to get Allen the football, particularly on that one deep shot early on in the first quarter, the first drive, if I'm not mistaken, which really worked for them. So this one, what did they do against Baltimore to try to get Allen working? You know, because he had that first target of the game, the first target of the game on their first play of the game, getting him to run a shallow crosser, getting him in space, in motion, running, all good. So what they do when they couldn't go back to him when Baltimore was covering really well? Well, they decided to start moving him. And this goes back to that slide route that I was talking about. They did it with Williams against the Cowboys. We've seen them do it plenty of times. Sometimes they keep the tight end to block, like they have done with Anderson. Like I tried to show you with Parham, but Parham didn't block. But I'm going to have Guyton run first, just as a motion out of the backfield or behind the line of scrimmage and run that, I believe, some sort of wheel route, or maybe it's a swing. And then Allen's going to follow him on a slide route, which is any route behind the line of scrimmage that goes to the flat. And it's just a decent way to try to get him involved. Sorry, my drawings aren't the best, but I believe you get the idea. So Keenan Allen in green, Guyton motion, slide route behind the line of scrimmage, out to the flat, get him the ball. It doesn't go very far, but you know what? You got to get the ball in the hands of your superstar. Same thing here. Keenan Allen's going to run, right? Motion, get away from whatever the defense was initially called. And now they're going to find a great hole shot for him right in between the corner and the safety. And of course, Keenan Allen is just a genius, finding exactly where he needs to be. The drops are obviously a problem, but he finds out where he needs to be. Boom, perfect, because they moved him. That's smart. The next one, just a quick screen to him. I know it's like even that slide route that got 3-4 yards. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but it was a way to get Keenan Allen involved in the second half. Too little, too late, or too much, too late, I guess. But they did try to get him involved. So one of them is that flat route or a shallow crosser. In this particular case, it's a screen to him. Doesn't go for a lot, but you're trying to get your guy involved. Get him in the game. Let your playmaker try to make a play. Is it my favorite way to do it? No. But it is a way to try to make it work. Okay, same thing here. Now, we're also going to talk about a couple of plays here where Herbert just doesn't go to him. And we're just talking about the Ravens game here. So we're going to have Allen run, motion, wheel route. We're going to have Eckler just kind of chip right here and leak out to the flat. And Herbert, like I've shown a couple of times, is just going to take the underneath option rather than the deep shot. Because you have Keenan Allen right here. This guy is still backpedaling. Keenan Allen is going to turn around. You could get it to him. And with Herbert's arm, no problem. You can complete this. But he decides to go for the underneath route here. The decision, there's nothing wrong with the decision. And I believe Eckler picks up a first down here because, of course, he does. That's Austin Eckler. But the things further down the field are there, right? And then here, this one's a little bit more frustrating, especially because Mike Williams was hurt. You have two guys running either a comeback or a hitch or whatever. And you have Mike Williams at the top, Keenan Allen at the bottom. And I know that he trusts Mike Williams. I know that Herbert trusts Mike Williams and that this offense trusts Mike Williams. And that even early on in the season, they ran the plays through Mike Williams. He was hurt this game and he wasn't contributing. And so they should have looked they should have looked Keenan Allen's way a little bit more, and they just didn't. So you have two guys here. If you're asking me which one should they go to, if Herbert was asked to go one way, who am I going to? I'm going to Keenan Allen because he's Keenan Allen. And as much as I like Williams, as much as he's improved, he doesn't run this route as well as Keenan Allen. I don't think he really runs many routes better than Keenan Allen, but he has improved quite a bit. But he was banged up. It's not really his thing. And you have Keenan Allen one-on-one. You have Mike Williams one-on-one. Maybe on a slant, I'm going Mike Williams. But in this particular instance, I'm going Keenan Allen, but he just doesn't. And I don't hate the decision all that much, but the throw wasn't very good. I believe Williams kind of drops it. I don't think he's credited for a drop, but that wasn't good. So it's a combination of things. So we've seen Jalen Guyton, right, what he's being asked to do and how he's not getting involved. Even though he is open, Herbert is not finding him because he's either missing or because the pressure is getting there. We showed the breakdowns, right? The offensive line, particularly that right side, not looking good at all. You've seen sprinkled throughout here. There's protections breaking down, particularly the right side. Also Parham on that one play. That wasn't good. So Schofield and Norton are definitely liability. Well, Norton is a liability. Schofield is an average offensive lineman. And so he's going to have some decent games and some bad games. And that's just kind of who he is. He's had some good games so far, but against the Patriots, it wasn't good. So we showed that. Then we showed Herbert just missing a couple of things, right? Hey, I've got Mike Williams on a corner or whatever that was, but I'm gonna go deeper to Keenan Allen, and it's almost intercepted. But the deep shot's there. So I think you're seeing that the deep shots are there. And people wondering about Joe Lombardi, hey, where are these deep shots? Why aren't we using Herbert like we're supposed to? I think the deep shots are there. Although Arjun and I think we'll talk about, yes, the deep shots are there, but are they using Herbert the correct way still? But that's for a different video. Like I said, just film right now. Part 2 is coming up. So this one, I just wanted to show one play. I don't want to show a million plays. One of their biggest issues and why their offense isn't clicking is on first down, their runs inside suck. I believe entering the Patriots game, they averaged like 3 yards a carry, either inside or outside. But it was worse on the inside. I forget to what extent. But running inside just doesn't work for them. And at least on first down. They did have the Justin Jackson run, which I believe was off tackle for 75 yards, and then an inside run from Austin Eckler for 28 yards. So that worked. And that's why their rushing EPA went up. But typically on first down, their offensive line or the running backs or whoever, and really anyone who's not Eckler, and even sometimes with Eckler, the runs inside just don't work. That's just not how the team's built. It's always more efficient to run outside anyway, but you have to run inside too because you can't just do the same thing over and over again. But unfortunately, on first down, you run inside. It's just not great. Now, it was much better this game. Don't get me wrong, but Calamete gets beaten here. So I guess I should have gone back and described who that was. Oopsie. Sorry. So that is the veteran Senio Calamete here, the guy that they are playing over Brendan Hymus right now. You can hear the disdain in my voice. I wish they would play Brendan Hymus, but they want the veteran out there. I guess I get it. Anyway, he gets beat here. And the guy that beats him is partially responsible for making that tackle. All right, so a couple things they need to fix, right? So I talked about the inside runs. Those need to get better. They need to definitely find Parham more. I know that he gave up that bad block, that pressure, and I believe sack. But they need to find him more. And that is also a protection issue. There were a couple of times on Sunday, but they just didn't find Parham because the protection broke down. But another guy that need to get involved, arguably more than Parham at this point, is Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer had only 8 snaps against the Patriots. And I think there were plays that were working, like I showed with Williams, with Guyton, the deep shots were working. And Palmer is by no means a deep ball guy, but you have to get him more involved in that because the talent is there. Guyton only got 1 target or 2 targets this game, and Palmer only got 1 target this game. And it came on the final drive of the game. That's unacceptable, in my opinion. Part of that is Lombardi. Part of that is how they're switching up their receivers. Part of that's the line. Part of it's Herbert, yada, yada. That's unacceptable with Josh Palmer. Why is he only out there for 8 snaps? Beats me. And of course, he gets 1 target. And what does he do with it? I don't know, the best play of the game. Granted, it is at the end of the game, but I mean, come on, he just mosses a defender. His first touchdown as a rookie. So there's obviously a lot to unpack here. I've been talking for a while. I apologize for talking for so long. I'm losing my breath at this point, my voice. The plays deep to Guyton and Williams are there. Herbert is just either missing, like outright missing, or he's opting to take the underneath route, or the protection is bad and Herbert just can't get there. It's not really a Guyton issue, in my opinion. I think if they sign Deshaun Jackson, potentially they could try more with him. But if they use him the exact way as Guyton, it's not going to make a difference unless the protection gets better. So it's not really a Guyton issue, in my opinion. It's not necessarily a Lombardi deep shot issue, in my opinion. To me, this mostly starts with the protection being so bad on the right side and why I was so frustrated that they didn't get a right tackle or a left guard to move Filer to right tackle or something. Because Herbert has a chance to make a lot of plays deep and they're just not there. Or he can't get there because the offensive line breaks down. It's very, very frustrating to watch. I'm sure watching all of this, that was very frustrating because you see the things that are there, but then, just like this play, it's there. But wait, Herbert's pressured. Can't make the throw. Can't make it happen. Underneath to Eckler. So hopefully they can fix these things. But there's definitely a lot of things to fix. I think their red zone offense after the Cowboys game was much, much improved. And that's great. I love seeing that. You saw them convert very well against the Chiefs, against the Browns, against the Raiders. So the red zone offense was kind of fixed. Now it's time to hopefully work with the offensive line, let Herbert find those deep balls. Maybe Herbert just needs to just start taking more deep shots because right now his intended air yards is like Mac Jones or Tua or whatever it is. And you don't want to be there. Part of it is on Lombardi, not maximizing Herbert. And we will talk about that with Arjun. But part of that is the offensive line. Part of that is him just not finding these deep receivers because he's taking the underneath ball. Seems repetitive, I know, but you can tell that all these things kind of come together to really show what's wrong with this offense right now. And there are good things for sure. There are definitely good things. It's a very talented offense. Don't get me wrong. They're just not clicking right now. And the issue is not one person. It's not just one thing. I'd like to say it's just drops, but it's not. We've shown that here. I like to say, Guyton, we just need to upgrade the speed. And they think they do need to upgrade their speed, but it's not on Guyton. Guyton's doing what he's asked to do. He's clearing guys out. He's running deep. He's running that go route, and he's open, but they're not finding him. I think if it's anything, it's offensive line. It is that right tackle group, which is really very, very frustrating, but hope without a good fix. So that's enough for my depressing breakdown of all the things that are wrong with the Chargers. Thanks so much for listening, guys. And as always, take care and bolt up.